In the world of political talk shows, where wit and sarcasm are often the main tools of discussion, each episode promises a show full of sharp words and unexpected turns. However, this time viewers witnessed not just another show, but a real clash of two worldviews. Liberal TV host Tucker Carlson, known for his provocative statements and criticism of Republicans, decided to take aim at Barron Trump, a young man who seemed to always live in the shadow of his famous father. But instead of becoming an object of ridicule, Barron, who had just celebrated his 18th birthday, surprised everyone with his confidence and maturity, forcing Carlson to reconsider his views. This unexpected turn of events was not only a shock to the audience, but also an important lesson in the importance of respecting the opinions of others, regardless of their political views. In this article, we take a closer look at how Barron Trump, with his amazing ability to argue, was able to not only respond to criticism but also change the dynamics of the program, becoming a symbol of a new generation ready for constructive dialogue. In the world of political talk shows, where wit and sarcasm are often the main tools of discussion, Tucker Carlson was a master of his craft. His shows attracted millions of viewers who waited not only for his analysis of current events, but also for his caustic comments that could cause a storm of emotions. But this time, when he decided to make fun of Barron Trump, the son of the former U.S. president, he did not expect to face a real challenge. Barron, who had just turned 18, had always lived in the shadow of his famous father. Despite being in the news, he preferred to stay out of the political fuss. But on this evening, he decided to take the stage and respond to criticism that he felt was not only unfair but also superficial. The show began with Carlson's usual sarcasm. He spoke ironically about how Barron, as Trump's son, should have inherited all of his father's shortcomings. "What's it like being Trump, when everyone expects you to fail?" Tucker asked with a grin, winking at the audience. But Barron, sitting across from him, was not about to remain indifferent to this stream of ridicule. When it came time for his response, Barron seemed to have collected all his thoughts and emotions into one coherent whole. He began by thanking Tucker for the opportunity to express his point of view. "I understand that you're doing your job, Tucker, and that your show is based on entertainment. But let's talk about the real issues that concern young people today," he said, his voice calm but confident. The audience, expecting light banter, suddenly felt the tension in the air. Barron continued, raising important topics like climate change, social justice, and the need for dialogue between different political views. He spoke about the importance of respecting the opinions of others, even if they disagree with you. "We live in a world where there's too much hatred and prejudice. I want us to be able to discuss our differences, not make fun of them," he said, looking Tucker straight in the eye. Tucker, who was used to people either falling for his provocations or defending themselves with weak arguments, was surprised. He hadn't expected Barron to be so confident and well-reasoned. At that moment, the host realized that his usual approach to debate might not work. Instead of continuing to mock, he began asking more serious questions, trying to understand the young Trump's position. This unexpected turn of events came as a real shock to the audience. Instead of the usual stream of irony and ridicule, viewers witnessed a sincere and constructive dialogue. Barron, with amazing confidence and maturity, not only responded to the attacks, but also forced Carlson to think about his preconceptions. At that moment, it became clear that Barron Trump was not just his father's son. He was an independent person, ready to defend his views and ideas. His confidence and ability to defend his position became a lesson to all who believe that it is easy to ridicule others without thinking about the consequences. The show ended, but its effects lingered. Barron Trump may not have been prepared for the attention, but his performance became a symbol of the importance of respecting the opinions of others, regardless of their political views. Tucker Carlson, for his part, was forced to rethink his approach to discussions, realizing that sometimes even the most unlikely interlocutors can teach us something important. After Barron Trump reappeared on Tucker Carlson's show, the atmosphere in the studio was filled with anticipation. The audience, who had witnessed their first encounter, was now eager to see how their dialogue would develop. Tucker, realizing that his usual methods might not work, decided to change his approach. He began with open-ended questions, allowing Barron to express his thoughts and ideas, which marked the beginning of a new phase in their interaction. "Barron, what do you think needs to be done to get young people more involved in political discussions?" Tucker asked, genuinely interested in the answer. Barron wasted no time in sharing his thoughts on the importance of engaging young people in politics. He talked about how social media can be a platform for sharing opinions and the importance of creating a safe space for discussion. "We have to create a culture where young people feel like their voice matters," Barron said. "It's not just about speaking up, it's about listening. I see a lot of young people being afraid to express their opinions because they're afraid of being judged. But that's what needs to change." Tucker, listening to Barron, began to realize that his own debating methods might have contributed to this atmosphere. He remembered how he had often used sarcasm and irony to undermine his opponents. Now he realized that this had only served to deepen the polarization. Throughout the show, Barron continued to share his views on important social issues such as climate change, equality, and human rights. He spoke about how young people can and should influence these issues through their voices and actions. Tucker, in turn, asked clarifying questions, allowing Barron to expand on his ideas. "You talk about the importance of dialogue, but how do you see that happening in an environment where opinions are so divided?" Tucker asked. Barron responded that the key to successful dialogue is a willingness to listen and understand another point of view, even if it doesn't align with your own. He emphasized the importance of not only standing up for your beliefs, but also being open to new ideas. "I think we have to learn from each other," Barron said. "Even if we disagree, it doesn't mean we can't find common ground. We all live in the same society, and we need to work together to solve common problems." These words made an impression not only on Tucker, but also on the audience. A new wave of discussions began on social networks, where users shared their thoughts on the importance of dialogue and respect for different opinions. Barron became a symbol of a new approach to political discussions, which was so necessary in modern society. After the show, Tucker decided he needed to continue this new course. He began inviting guests with different points of view onto his show, creating space for constructive dialogue. This decision led to his shows becoming more popular, attracting a new audience that was looking not only for entertainment, but also for meaningful conversations. Meanwhile, Barron continued to actively participate in discussions on social media platforms. He became the unofficial spokesman for a new generation seeking constructive dialogue. His posts about the importance of respect and understanding resonated with many, and he soon became one of the most talked about young influencers. Not everyone was happy with his success, however. Some critics continued to insist that Barron was just Trump's son and that his ideas didn't matter. But Barron didn't care. He understood that his goal was not to please everyone, but to create a space for discussion where everyone could voice their opinion. Soon, Barron received an invitation to speak at a youth conference on political activism. The event brought together young people from all over the country, and Barron was determined to inspire them to take action. He prepared a speech in which he spoke about the importance of youth participation in political processes and how every voice can make a difference. "We live in a unique time where technology allows us to be heard," he began. "But with that opportunity comes responsibility. We must use our platforms to speak up about what's important and not be afraid to speak our minds." Barron spoke about the importance of not only voting in elections, but also being active in their communities, organizing events, discussions, and debates. He encouraged young people not to stand aside, but to actively influence the future they want to see. "Each of us can be an agent of change," he continued. "Don't let anyone tell you that your ideas don't matter. We must unite and work together to create a society where everyone is heard." These words brought a storm of applause and enthusiastic responses from the audience. The young people felt inspired, and many of them began to share their own stories of how they had tried to change their communities. After the conference, Barron became even more active on social media, sharing his thoughts and ideas and supporting other young activists. He understood that his role was not only to speak, but also to listen and support others. Meanwhile, Tucker Carlson continued to develop his new approach to debate. He became more open to different opinions and began inviting guests who could offer alternative points of view. This led to his show becoming more diverse and interesting, and viewers began to appreciate the opportunity to hear different opinions. Not everyone was happy with the changes, however. Some critics argued that Tucker had betrayed his earlier views and become too soft. But he understood that in a climate of growing polarization, it was important to create space for dialogue rather than conflict. Soon, Barron and Tucker decided to hold a joint project, a series of debates in which young activists could discuss important social and political issues. The event attracted media attention and became a real hit. Each episode of the program was devoted to a specific topic, and participants were free to express their opinions, ask questions, and discuss different approaches to solving problems. Barron and Tucker acted as moderators, creating an atmosphere of respect and openness. This initiative not only strengthened their relationships, but also helped many young people feel part of an important dialogue. They began to realize that their opinions matter and that they can influence the future. Thus, Barron Trump and Tucker Carlson became symbols of a new approach to political discussions based on respect and understanding. Their work together inspired many, and they soon became known as leaders of a new generation seeking constructive dialogue and cooperation. Ultimately, their story became an example of how even the most diverse opinions can lead to productive discussion and understanding. Barron and Tucker showed that despite differences, it is important to find common ground and work together for the common good.